Show fans, playoff time is knocking at the door. And quote the Raven, never more? No, lots more. Lots more hockey to come, a ton of it to talk. Teams making us look like big old dummies in the Premier. Elite squads clinching titles for the first time. NCDC stat leading champs, everything and more to talk about as the stakes get higher and higher. The year close to coming to that crescendo of playoff time. All right, Dan K. Show fans, another week. And thing number one, I look to the guy with the glowing headset, and Daft Punk broke up this week. And Lucas, disappointing day for you. I'm gonna let you talk in the first three things here. I mean, how disappointed are you? Daft Punk broke up.
I mean, it's the end of an era. Daft Punk certainly has been the soundtrack to quite a few Jersey Shore experiences. You and I both very familiar with that Jersey Shore scene. And, as a fan of synthwave and electronic music myself, they did it so well. They were pioneers and, but eventually every good duo needs to hang up the helmet, so to speak, Dan.
Number two, thing number duo, as they say, or is it dose? I don't know. What are we talking about here? Islanders Hockey Club. And we're going to talk about them after this opening here. We didn't put them in the top 10 in the Premier. They make us look like a bunch of dummies here. 18 consecutive wins. The boys at IHC are hot right now. Thing number three, I got to give some love to Connor Wilkerson. My guy with the Charleston Colonials, debut in net. Coach says, get between the pipes. Let's see where you're at right now. What does this guy do? He just goes shutty. Not a big deal, man. Not a big deal. Yeah, come on. Back up the truck. Get him the accolades. Fill up the truck with it. Let's go. We're going to Title Town in Charleston. The Colonials got themselves just a truckload of talent. Watch out for Charleston heading into the postseason, but you got to watch out for the man to my stage right, left. I never remember. He's my right-hand man. He's my consigliere. He's Mon Frere from Another Mayor. He's a little extra lighted today, a little bit of blue, but he's not blue at all. He's smiling and he's happy because it's almost playoff time. Lucas Jones, what's going on?
Oh, I can't wait. This is my favorite time of the year when the Dan K Show gets to talk. Not just talk about playoffs, but we get to experience it, Dan. We go to nationals. We bring that spotlight. We bring that attention. We might even bring these this year, the literal spotlights for nationals. It's going to be so much fun. We finally get to see this Premier and Elite season come to its end. There's going to be surprises. There's going to be upsets. We have to get through regionals first. We have to figure out who those representatives are. But Dan, there is a lot of firepower. And I think that Wilkerson start is symbolic in a way because you got teams who are like, let's see what we got. Let's see what extra juice we can squeeze out of this season. And you guys coming out here throwing shutouts. You got guys in the Southeast who are putting up points like crazy. The Midwest West, no one wants to lose out there. And then a Provo team coming out of nowhere, out in the mountain for 9-1 in their last 10. This season is nowhere close to being out of surprises.
Yeah, and Lucas, you got a chance to sit down with Yaroslav Modry, the head coach, the skipper of this Provo Riverblades side. Since he's taken over, things have turned around mightily in Provo. This Riverblades team just might be the best team in the Mountain Division right now, sitting in fourth place in the standings. What did Yaroslav have to say, and why should folks tune over to that audio podcast when they're done here?
Well, you should definitely go tune over to that podcast because it was great to finally pick Coach Modry's brain a little bit as to what's been going on out there in Provo. And one of the things he said was, sometimes you just need a little bit of a different look, a little bit of a different tact, a little bit of a different motivational movement. And he felt that he was able to provide that for this team. He said the basically what the team had, the framework was there. was really one or two key additions, one or two key changes. He's really happy with the look of this team, the makeup of the squad. He thinks they're extremely prepared for a good run at the end of the season. But I think you should definitely go over and listen to that podcast because it's a lot of fun to record.
Yeah, and this Provo Riverblades team, man. The funniest thing for Dan K, I've fallen in love with every team. We started the year as a Pueblo Bulls guy. Then I went loco for Noco. I was talking outliers out the wazoo. Then Ogden comes into play, and I put them in our top 10 in the power rankings. And we forgot all about the Provo Riverblades, baby, because the Riverblades have made things happen. You want to talk about one of the most exciting divisions in the game of hockey right now? It's this USPHL Mountain. It ain't down in Florida. It ain't up north. We're crazy everywhere, right? But right now, you look in the Mountain Division, and I mean, 1 through 5, anybody beating anybody every night. It reminds me of this Florida Division. It reminds me of the Southeast Division. It reminds me of the Midwest West right now. You're going through, you're just battling, Lucas. It's nonstop. It's an exhausting division to watch and to try to prognosticate.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, Dan, so much that we talk about them in our long form version, our audio podcast. And if you want the rest of this conversation, head over to anchor.fm/DKS-hockey or go to your favorite streaming platform, type in Dan K Show Presents, and that episode will pop up as the latest episode for you to listen to.
And we're going to come back after this with a little discussion about an Islanders hockey club team that might have taken our power rankings snide and snub a little bit personally.
Head to EliteJRProfiles.com to find the best way to give your student athlete the tools and connections needed to reach their highest goals in both sports and academics.
Lucas, so many times with the Dan K Show Power Rankings, we get it right. And there's other times where the Dan K bump comes into play. Hashtag Dan K bump for you IHC fans at home. And a team that received that in spades is the Islanders Hockey Club. 35-5-0 through 40 games played, a 12-point advantage at the division's helm. Lucas, the third best goal differential in the game at the premier level, plus 145 on the year, only topped by the Metro Jets and Wisconsin Rapids River Kings. The Islanders Hockey Club, 18-0 in their last 18. Wow. How impressed have you been about IHC? And right now, I do this all the time. We apologize, IHC. We were wrong, IHC. Coach Punske, please stop making us look stupid.
Well, what did we tell them? We told them that we felt like the defense could have been shored up a little bit, right? They shored it up. Right. We told them we weren't really sure about the offense. Well, the offense went off. And, we said we weren't really sure if they could hang with tough teams in close games. And they went and did that too. And I feel like the Islanders Hockey Club right now are the living version of the Michael Jordan. And I took that personally meme because they took what we had to say about them in the power rankings personally, and they showed up. I think that's why we love this power ranking so much, is because you don't just get to reward teams in the top 10. You get to talk to the teams who just missed it and why they just missed it, right? And then they go out and they prove you wrong.
Lucas, this team's allowing less than 2 goals a game. And you go no further than to the net to watch these two guys. And come on, seriously, Dean Hahn, 18-1-0 on the year, a 151 goals against average, a 949 saves percentage. This young man is just ridiculous. It's unfair. Just knock it off. He had a glove save, Lucas, that Coach Punske tagged us in on Twitter, that if you haven't gone and checked out, we've retweeted on our page, head there, or you can go to Coach Jay Punske's page. This young man just turned into a windmill. He was all over the place. I hurt myself watching it, and you saw just the energy from the bench. You can always tell how good a save is from the sounds from the bench, and that bench was on fire for IHC. Dean Hahn, and then, you only throw William Netfu in there, who's a rook with a 15-2-0 record, a 199 goals against, and a 940 save percentage. 6 shutouts between these two, Lucas. They've stopped over 1,000 shots on the season. They do it in every way. They win with the high shot totals on net. They win with the low shot totals. They get the team defense. When they don't have the team defense, they get the huge saves. This is going to be a team that nobody wants to deal with.
One of the things I said was, they're giving up a lot of shots, right? That was one of the things we pointed to, that a team that gives up a lot of shots, it's only a matter of time, right? Before those pucks start going by them. Well, they proved us wrong again, right? They're able to withstand a number of shots. They're able to absorb all those shots, and they're able to turn it around on the other end. They've got 10 guys right now who are averaging over a point per game. All these guys have over 15 games played on the season too. So you've got guys who've been here a while. There's some longevity in this team. There's youth in this team. And it starts with some of the creators. And one of the guys that I love to see, or two of the guys I should say, Matt Young, the right defenseman. I always love to see a defenseman get on the point sheet. 4 goals, 32 assists. That is exactly
Monster.
the way to play the game from an offensive leaning team on the defensive side. You get that puck, you find that opening. He's running things like a general. And Seaberg as well. Seaberg right now, a rookie. He's an 03, 16 goals, 23 assists, 5-5 on the power play. That's just a young player who has injected the fire and the passion into that power play unit, into the rest of this team. Youth like that rubs off, right? You want that experience. You want all that, we've been through it. We know the adversity. And you throw Seaberg out there and he can just light a fire under you.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at this squad, you look at Ryan Barrett leading the way, the Euro 1. Ryan Barrett's a guy who I've talked about a trillion times over. And he's a young man that if I'm a college out there, if I'm anybody, like, this is the guy you build around. And IHC gets that, and Coach Punske gets that. Barrett just battles. He's a centerman, man. He's going to get out there and win you faceoffs. He's put up 89 points over the last 2 seasons for this IHC side. He's a character player, man. He's a high character dude, gets it done, puts in the work in the off season. We've dropped videos of him putting in the work, going top shelf in the backyard during the pandemic when nobody could get on the ice, doing it on the dry land. You got a team that's led by a guy like Barrett. You got a coach like Punske behind the bench. You got an organization like IHC. I think that this could be the year that this New England division challenges for this premier title. I would not be surprised to see this IHC team come semifinals time.
No, and they're going to have their work cut out for them, because one of the things we were talking about before the show was just how primed 2 other divisions are to make it to nationals. And I think that's the Midwest West for sure. The Southeast division for sure is primed. And I think that one division not to count out, especially late in the season here, Dan, is something that we talked about last week, the Midwest East. I think there's a lot of talent here, and it's really come to a head at the end of the season. Teams have found their strides. They figured it out. You've got, I think, the most parity you've had in the Premier, where and not only any division can win it, but it feels like any of the top 4 teams in any of the divisions have a real shot.
Well, it's the same thing you're going to see. It's in a different way, right? In the NHL, everything's kind of quarantined in terms of the divisions. So you're going to see an odd playoff this year. When you get to the semifinals, you might have a team that just doesn't measure up in that semifinal, potentially from the Canadian division, potentially from the Pacific. You might see some of that fall off there. You got like a division like the Eastern Division this year that's just loaded top to bottom. All those teams are ready to compete for a playoff spot. Only 4 are going to make it. You look now in this premier, in this elite this year, in the USPHL, in the NCDC, this is the year in a completely different way. It could come out of left field, man. I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like the Steele County Blades make a run in the Midwest West. I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like the Mad Hatters in the Premier down in Florida do something. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Colonials make a big-time postseason run. Wouldn't be surprised down in the Southeast to see a Hampton Roads Whalers team at the 4 seed in the Elite or the Premier get past the top-seeded Rush and move on. You got Red Sox Yankees in the Southeast come first round of the playoffs here, Lucas, in Hampton Roads, Charlotte Rush. There is so much coming at you come playoff time, and we are going to be working once we know how everything's going to be set up. Once we get that information, we're going to be working on our bracketology again, Lucas. And hold on, let me go, Mr. Vital, Mr. It's going to be awesome, baby. Bracketology. I love playoff time. You know what I mean? The best thing about the Premier League, Lucas, is it happens in March. It's March Madness, baby. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be awesome.
That That is nowhere close to what he sounds like these
It's
days.
100% exactly what he sounds like.
You got if you see the new Geico commercial with him, he's much more
Yeah.
reserved now.
He's not reserved. He's super scintillating, sensational. He's a 3S man. He's still a type of dandy. I'm a type of dandy, baby. I got plenty of energy left in me. Look at me. I'm all over the place, baby. On the interwebs. I'm using the Twitters.
He might be saving his energy for March, and I think that's where we're going to be at too here, because we've got ourselves a little bit of off ice coverage here. We're going to be staying at home, getting ourselves ready. We've got a lot of stuff to cover, and then you bet that we'll be there for Nationals. We do every single game if we could. If we could just line teams up and get
Set it up now.
going.
Let's do every single game. I'll figure it out. We'll make it work. Every single game, not even a question. Call us up. Call me, beat me. If you want to reach me, Kim Possible, nothing's impossible. It's all doable. We'll make it work. I can guarantee it. I'll go Mark Cuban. I'll go Shark Tank right now. Every game.
We would certainly love to do that with this year, and it's just going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see which teams end up coming out. Can't wait to see what the playoff format's going to be this year. Can't wait to see who wins our bracketology.
I can't wait to talk about these last two teams we're going to talk about here, Lucas, in the elite. There's two sides who I have to praise right now. Number one, this team's played 25 games on the year because of COVID-19, a slow start to the season because just shutdowns, no one to play up there in the state. They go down to Florida, and what a story the Northern Cyclones were. 18-2-0 in Hub City, Tampa. 22-3-0 on the year, an 80-plus goal differential, 44 points for this side. They've played 16 less games than the first place side, and they've got a shot to really this is a national champion with a lot of title hopes in mind. They've won 10 straight leaving the Hub. I mean, round of applause, seriously, for the folks of the Northern Cyclones, for those young men, for that squad, for the coaching staff, for the Flanagan family, for Wyan, for Alex Thomas, for everyone to battle through there with all the other stuff they do for the game of hockey on the women's side of the game, and to do this for their elite side, to get them down to the Hub, to get these games in, and to still have this team buy into this system and put out the effort they did on a day in and day out basis. I cannot say enough. Every single young skater on that Cyclone squad should be proud of the work they put in. That was a battled for 18-2. That was a well-earned 18-2. And that is the talk of the day right now. Cyclones, Lucas, I can't say enough.
No, and they've just been so incredibly dominant, because you really have to look at it in perspective, right? So you talk about only having 25 games on the sheet, but having 133 goals scored in those 25 games. So what you're looking at is just under 5.5 goals scored per game. And on the flip side, Dan, you're looking at an average giving up of 2 goals per game. Yep. And you might look at the number and say, well, of course the number's low because they haven't played as many games. 25 data points, I guarantee you, is statistical relevancy. You come at me with a 5.5 goals for, 2 goals against ratio after 25 games of hockey, playing not just some of the opponents they played, but especially playing some really tough teams. We just talked about the late season surge, winning games in the late season against these tough opponents. I mean, this has got to be a sign. The Cyclones team has success written all over it. And looking at the amount of goals they've scored, the differential they've scored, if you wanted to nitpick a weakness, you'd be hard pressed to find one.
Kai Slett is a name I want folks to remember, because this is a young guy, Euro 3, who's got hands of silk, man. This guy, he's got silky mitts. He can make things happen. He can make the big pass. He can make the big play. And you put him with some of the vets on this side, like Kanan Stevenson and Mark Giordano. Come playoff time, they're going to do it again. Just watch out. Mark my words. It's the Northern Cyclones. The Northern Cyclones Elite has been a Dan K favorite for a long time. They continue to be. And a Lucas J favorite, our other elite side to talk about today, Lucas. For the first time in program history, the Rockets Hockey Club are elite Mid-Atlantic Division champs.
And a certain broadcaster wearing a glowing blue headset at the beginning of this season said that the Rockets Hockey Club was going to be in the championship game. And then when you called that a weak prediction, I went back later and got very angry and yelled at you they were going to win the whole thing. But I said the Rockets were going to be involved in the championship game in the Elite this year, and I still don't see anything that's going to upend that prediction here. The Rockets have battled through, again, in their own particular COVID environment with some of the travel restrictions that they've had to deal with as well, having to play some interesting games, having to really find ways to be successful. And I think this is a team that slots in against any opponent, right?
Yep.
There are teams that play their game and they play it so well, and they're such a dominating, overwhelming force. And then there are teams like the Rockets, man, who just adapt. It's be like water, right? That's what they do. And then they figure out what they need to do. And then they go do it. And they add in, just a little dash of speed and a little dash of recklessness and physicality in center ice. Those hallmarks of what the Rockets Hockey Club do on top of that adaptability.
Does water adapt? It doesn't really adapt. It just fills a certain, it's a liquid. It's not adapting to being a liquid.
It fills whatever space you put it in.
But that's not adaptability. It just fills. That'd be like
you don't have to be alive to be able to adapt.
I'm not adapting to sitting on the chair right now. I'm just sitting.
I mean, your spine actually changes shape when you sit down. So in a way, you are adapting to sitting on the couch.
Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, congrats to the Rockets Hockey Club, Coach Todd Wagenbach, well earned, hard earned there. I'm going to say, I know the Aviators haven't had the season they wanted in the Elite, but you're the Rockets Hockey Club. You're going to deal with the Aviators come playoff time, and they always have trouble with this Aviators side. Yep. They cannot take a breather. You cannot take a break. You got to win every day. You have to win every shift, every period, every game. You cannot give in, and you cannot overlook opponents. And that Aviator side is an opponent I would never overlook at any level of the game with Coach Stanaway behind the bench, Coach Dreyer back behind the thing pulling strings, man. This Aviator team, I'd never overlook them. Do not skip a space because you'll trip and fall.
Yeah. I mean, if there's one thing the Aviators do well, it's they go full send all the time, right? And you get them into a situation where if they perceive that they're not being taken seriously, they will 100% reverse that situation and fire you into the boards and fire pucks into the back of the net. So Rockets Hockey Club, any team that wants to try to beat the Aviators here, like you said, you got to go. You can't have any weakness. You got to win games. It goes for every single team out there. There is no division that's safe. There is no team that is a safe opponent. You have to get out there. The best way to make sure that you make it to the next round is to win. And win every game right off the bat.
Lucas, with that, we talked about winning games. We talked about scoring goals, putting pucks in the back of the net. Let's close this thing out today before we head to the empty net with our top 5 category guys in the NCDC on the scoring side. We start with goals scored. In first place, yet again, Frankie Ireland of the Boston Junior Bruins. Daniel Ibrahim Danny Boy, the goal pipes are calling, at 25 for the year. Clark Kerner, not Clark Kent, but he is Superman still. 23 goals for him for the Rockets Hockey Club. Liam McClinsky, if you want a McClinchski, a title, put Liam McClinsky on your line. 20 goals for him. And Lucas, he's in a 3-way tie with Chikara Hanzawa and Johnny Wesco. Go, Johnny, go, go, go. And Chikara Hanzawa, 31 games played. The difference between him and the other top goal scorers, he's played 7 less games than Wesco, 8 less than the other 4 ahead of him. 20 goals for him on the year. I'm going to say right now he might be my player of the year in the NCDC. I think that his effect on South Shore has been the biggest effect of one individual player's talent on any side in the NCDC this year.
Yeah, I mean, and you talk about what have you done for me lately? It's 10 points in February, 10 points in 7 games in February, including a 5-point game, right? So this is someone that could take advantage of someone that could be a team leader, somebody that, I mean, you say all the things you want, right? All the canned responses about a guy, but there's really nothing that describes the way that he plays. It's speed, it's skill, it's the foresight to know where you have to be, it's intelligence. It's something that was so impressive to finally get to see live that you try to come up with the words and the canned responses don't seem to really fit.
Yep. 100% agree. And this guy, we call him the artist for a reason. Chikara, the artist Hanzawa, because he's creative. There is no space on the ice. He's not afraid to skate in. He'll skate wherever he needs to go to get that puck home. He'll make the pass, 20 goals, 19 assists. He's a balanced scorer. I always talk about balance and scoring, always. When you see a guy who does it evenly, you love to see it. Hanzal is so good. You want to talk about another guy in the conversation, though, for player of the year? We go to the assist leader, Liam McClinsky of the Jersey Hitmen. 37 assists, 57 points on the year from McClinsky, 1.46 points per game, nearly a point and a half on the year. That's leading everybody who's played this many games. He's that good. He's so good. We watched him score a game winner against the Rockets Hockey Club earlier this year, back in October. This seems like ages ago. That's not earlier this year. That's earlier this season. I need to change the way I word things. Lucas, Liam McClinsky, just how good.
Yeah, I mean, McClinsky has absolutely stepped into a role for the Hitmen and just firing on all cylinders. You know, that's the kind of player that he is. He puts himself in position to score, puts himself in position to make the assist, make the pass, lay out the body, plays well in the power play, plays well shorthanded. I mean, you talk about like a total player, that's what McClinsky is.
Yeah, you look at behind him, Spencer Corona cracking it open, the centerman for the Pal Junior Islanders, 33 assists on the year. This is a pass-first guy, and he does it in the right way. Mm-hmm. He gets the puck where it needs to go. Incredible start for Corona. Incredible year for him. Colin Graff of the Boston Junior Bruins. He's not telegraphing any of his passes, Colin Graff. He's got 33 assists on the year as well, tied with Corona for second. Here he goes again. Superman, Clark Kerner, 31 assists for him. And Luke Aquero, 30 assists. You talked about it before, Lucas. It's your call. The dawning of the age of Aquero is here.
That's it. And Aquero is another player who's super impressive to watch. I mean, he's a skater who really skates like he's 6'5". That's the kind of guy that he is. And he's super physical and open ice. His picture on USPHL.com is amazing. He looks like the happiest hockey player in the world wearing that Hitmen jersey. You love to see it. You love to see the assists and, you know, going to West Point. So you got to love that as well. He's a 2000 who really skates large and skates well. And I also want to go back and talk real quick about Spencer Corona, because this Pal Junior Islanders team is a team that, Dan, I know you've been talking about quite a bit, and you've been saying that this is a dangerous team that's making a run and kind of flying under the radar because of what's going on in the top of that division between the Rockets and the Jersey Hitmen. This Pal team is very good. And one great thing I love about Spencer Corona, you want to talk about development, right? Been in the NCDC for Pal for 3 seasons now. This is his 3rd season. Every season he has doubled his points. Every year he's essentially doubled his points from 10 to 25 to 41. The season is still going on. I mean, this is someone who is the proof of the concept of, if you stay in this model, if you stay committed to the program, every coach talks about buy-in. About 3 years of doubling points. It's insane.
That's what it's all about. And he does it right. Incredible job by him. You look at your top point getters, Liam McClinsky, baby, 57 points. Going to be hard to argue he's not the player of the year. Chikara Hanzawa might be the closest one, unless you talk about Clark Kerner with 54, Colin Graff, 52, Daniel Ibrahim at 49, and Frankie Ireland with 47. Lucas, last 2 guys I got to throw a mention out to. Ryan Willett. There's a Willett, there's a way. And you're going to win when you got Willett on the ice, man. 42 points for him. And Grant Porter from the New Hampshire Monarchs. How about the captain, El Capitan? 41 points for him on the year, 15 goals, 26 assists. Year 2002. This is a young guy in Porter. He's strong on the puck, strong in the face-off game, gets things done, skates to the right places on the ice. 5'10", 170, some room to grow, some room to throw on some weight there muscle-wise. This is a guy with a big future, 4-game winners on the year, just 12 penalty minutes in 32 games. Smart player who wears a C for a reason.
Yeah, and he's another player who's had a 10-point month so far, most recently against the Junior Bruins. How about a little 5-point game, including a hat trick? That's an incredible stat to put up there, especially against this Junior Bruins team. You know, could that be an indicator of things to come? Is he going to be the guy? Right? We just watched the NHL outdoors game where the Flyers had a little bit of trouble with the Boston Bruins front line there, Dan. That top line really put the hammer down on those guys. Yep. But could Porter be that for the Junior Bruins come playoff time? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I love watching Grant Porter, and I love what he's done with this team.
they played so well that Pasternak's Wikipedia page was changed to call him the owner of the Philadelphia Flyers officially. It's actually still there.
It felt like it. It was the shades. That's what it was. You walk out in those outfits and those shades, you're beating anybody.
It's over, man. I felt like Global Guts back in the day. Mike O'Malley over the Super Aggro Crag, a reference none of these young players get, and probably the parents don't get either because it was in our time frame. Still, we love it. That does it. Let's get to the empty net, our favorite portion of every show where we talk to you, the audience at home. Welcome to the empty net. Time for the empty net. And Lucas, the biggest thing is our schedule's filling up fast. We opened up the services page, and we have been swatting away business over the last couple days and weeks, just trying to make sure our schedule can kind of fit everything in, make sure we keep things open, make sure we keep our playoff time open here for folks in the USPHL. But there are some big things coming down the pike. And one of those things is the executive board. We saw that announcement. Ryan Crothers, RC Like, added that executive board. We are expanding that as well. So working on, we got over 25 applications. We are working through those now for this executive board. And look, this is going to be a great opportunity for the Dan K Show to really ensure that we're doing the most we can for players right around the leagues, around the world, and really drive home just how great the effort of these junior hockey players is and get these guys to the next level. That's the point of the show, right? That's the mantra, player first. And I think that this just gives us an even better opportunity to spotlight these guys with new events, new opportunities, new potential games, and all kinds of coverage that the Dan K Show can now provide.
Yeah, I mean it's all about putting these guys in a position where they can be seen. It's that visibility, right? And it's in a lot of ways the broadcasting is just an integral part of it, right? Because there's a lot of guys out there, there's a lot of guys that are changing around, and to be able to highlight a player, whether it's you giving a guy a nickname and getting some visibility, or whether it's one of us checking out something behind the play, right? Whether it's expanding into the youth game, right? The 10U game we just did, looking at some of these midget teams and midget opportunities. At every level, there needs to be visibility. And that's one of the reasons we're so interested in expanding, is because we're going to finally be able to provide that from our end to the teams and places that want us.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's just about removing those ceilings, right, and covering as much hockey as we can cover. We want to cover every single event that we have the opportunity to. We're excited to do it, and I'm so excited for playoff time. We're starting to get folks reaching in, Lucas. They're chirping us. Last week, you got chirped because the empty net got spelled wrong on the show. We were asked what the empty net was, and I love that. I love when we get chirped.
It's so much fun.
Also, a big shout out to Kyle Watson, who slid into my DMs to tell me he doesn't want to hear a thing about the big win this weekend, baby.
Big win.
Come on, you Blues. Everton, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about and you think football's what is it, a pigskin? You're wrong. It's a soccer ball right now because Everton drops the Reds, beats Liverpool, and it wasn't even close. And you know what I mean? What I'm just like, I apologize to Kyle Watson. You guys are going to enjoy the championship next year after this big losing streak. I'm sure Fulham's going to catch them, and it's going to be relegation city. Relegation city, baby. It's going to be awesome. Goodbye, Liverpool.
I'll tell you what, after being on the road with you for 6 weeks, I may or may not have developed an unhealthy Everton fandom just being next to you. So I did watch my first Everton game by myself, and it was awesome. Had a great
really good luck, John.
That's it. I just got to keep watching, man. That's all it is.
That's all it is. A huge win for them, 2-0. But Kyle Watson of the Hampton Roads Whalers, again, this is a young guy that I keep saying to scouts, anytime I have the chance, man, this is a guy who you got to watch play. You see him right now with Tonoli and Declare, and it's unfair when you put creators around him. It's like, get out of the way, man. He's scoring pucks, and he's going to put them in the back of the net. And I know how good Coach Crothers thinks this Charlotte Rush team is, and I know he knows how good this Hampton Roads team is right now. That might be the matchup of the century. That is going to be the hardest play-in game on the planet for Nationals. Mm-hmm. Hampton Roads versus Charlotte Rush will be the most difficult game most difficult series ever to get into the postseason if that's how this thing shapes out.
Yeah, I think that might be an interesting one. We might have to bring back our highlighter game segment to really hype that one. We're gonna be locked in front of that.
I can't wait. To everybody who's reaching out to us, keep an eye out. We're gonna have our bracketology coming up come playoff time. You'll have an opportunity to pick against us for a gritty picture. You have a chance to win some cool stuff. You're gonna have some cool things to win. Dan K, Lucas Jones, your parting words. What are you doing? He turned them off. To Daft Punk, we salute you. I think that's a Daft Punk thing. I don't know anything about Daft Punk. I know nothing about him. If it's not Johnny Cash, don't ask me. Dan K, when he's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Keep watching. Elite Junior Profiles, Remastered Sleep, USPHL, awesome partners, proud partners of the Dan K Show TM. As owners and hosts of the Dan K Show, Lucas, we love this product. We're excited to see where it goes. Thank you to our sponsors, the USPHL, the Elite Junior Profiles, www.usphl.com, www.elitejrprofiles.com, www.remasteredsleep.com. With just a sip, you can fight snoring. Go check it out. Go buy that water bottle. Hey, see you later.
I could not believe, because spelling that word is not something that you ever really think you got to check. That's almost like a pre-made graphic too. It's not quite. It's like a font and it's a type, and you just never think you have to spell check that word.
Yeah, he went after it. He went after us, and it was great, and I love it. Chirp away, because I can't spell anyway. That's why we stopped letting me edit. I could spell. I've won a spelling bee.
Yeah, it was close.
Cat. K-A-T. I'm out of here.